It was the darkest night in history. While others slept, Jesus knelt alone. Not with fear, but with a cup only he could drink. In that quiet garden he cried out in agony. His soul crushed with sorrow, even unto death. He whispered, "Your will be done." And then, betrayal arrived. Not from strangers, but a kiss from a friend. This was Gethsemane, the battleground before the cross. After the Last Supper, Jesus left the city with his disciples. They walked quietly toward the Mount of Olives, a place they had gone many times before. But this night was unlike any other. They came to a garden called Gethsemane. The trees stood like silent witnesses. Jesus paused, his spirit heavy. And then he spoke with trembling sorrow. "Stay here," he told Peter, James, and John. "My soul is overwhelmed, even unto death." He asked them to watch and pray, because the hour had come. He went further, alone. The night wrapped around him like a shroud. He fell to his knees and poured his heart before the Father. "Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me," he prayed. His voice broke with grief. But then he surrendered. "Not my will, but yours be done." His agony grew deeper. His sweat became like blood falling to the ground. The weight of sin crushed his soul. He bore the grief of all humanity. And in that moment of sorrow, heaven sent an answer. An angel appeared to strengthen him. Not to remove the burden, but to help him carry it. He returned and found his disciples asleep. Could they not stay awake even 1 hour? But their eyes were heavy with sorrow. They did not understand what he was facing. Once more he went to pray, alone with his pain. The cup was bitter, but he chose obedience. Then, footsteps broke the silence. Judas came leading soldiers with torches. He approached the master with a kiss of betrayal. Jesus didn't run. He stood in peace, though surrounded by enemies. "This is your hour," he said, "and the power of darkness." In fear and fury, Peter drew his sword and struck a servant's ear. But Jesus said, "Put your sword away." This was not a fight of blades. Even now, he healed. He touched the servant's ear and restored him. Mercy flowed even as the chains drew near. The disciples scattered, afraid and confused. Jesus was arrested, alone. The shepherd was struck, and the sheep fled into the night. The garden fell silent. The Son of God was led away, not because he was weak, but because he chose to drink the cup. They led him away through the dark paths of Jerusalem. The Savior bound like a criminal, yet walking willingly, like a lamb led to the slaughter. The city slept unaware, but heaven and hell both watched. For in those footsteps, eternity was shifting. In the high priest's courtyard, they questioned him with lies and rage. But he remained silent, for truth doesn't need to shout. Peter followed at a distance, but fear gripped his heart. Would he stand with Jesus, or deny him like the rest? "You were with him," a girl said. But Peter shook his head. "I don't know the man." He lied, for the first time. 2 more times he denied. Then a rooster crowed, and the words of Jesus struck him like thunder. Peter wept bitterly. Morning came, and with it trials before men. But the true trial was already fought in the garden. For in Gethsemane, Jesus already said yes to pain, to betrayal, to the cross. The disciples were scattered, their dreams crushed, but they did not know this crushing would bring resurrection. In Gethsemane, the cross was already chosen. Before nails pierced his hands, the decision was sealed with prayer and love. The cup he spoke of was filled with the wrath of sin. He drank it, not because he had to, but because he loved us. Before Pilate he stood calm. He said little, but meant everything. His silence roared louder than their accusations. They mocked him, twisted thorns into a crown. But they did not know. They were crowning the King of Heaven. And Gethsemane stood still, the place where sorrow became strength, where fear bowed to faith, and the war was won in prayer. The garden didn't end the story. It began it. For from its shadows rose the light of salvation. In that moment he chose the harder path, the path of pain, of blood, of salvation. All of heaven watched in awe, the King of glory, choosing surrender, when he could have summoned legions. The garden bore his tears and blood, holy ground forever marked, where God himself wrestled, and chose the will of the Father. He had taught them here before. Lessons of peace, of trust, of the kingdom. But now, he was teaching them by example. Peter's failure broke him. But Gethsemane was not about perfection. It was about surrender. And God would restore him. As the sun rose, the trees stood still. They had seen the Son of God say yes to saving the world. From Gethsemane to Golgotha, the path was clear. Love had made its choice. And the world would never be the same. Gethsemane was not defeat. It was victory in the hidden place, where hearts are tested, and eternity is touched. Though he was taken in chains, he was never conquered. He chose this cup. For you. For me. For love. The garden is quiet now. But it speaks louder than thunder. It tells of a Savior, who said, "Not my will but yours be done." He invites us to our own Gethsemane, to surrender our fears, to lay down our will, and trust in the Father. Gethsemane is not just a place on a map. It's the heart of surrender, the place where love triumphed, before a single nail was ever driven.